All right, welcome to Two Scoops podcast. You're the guinea pig. First one.
I'm game, brother.
I really appreciate you coming out here on such a short whim.
Hey, I've got a good wife. I said, I got to run north quick, big time podcast. This might be my big break. She's like, get the hell out of here.
Sweet. Even Tiff, I told her I was coming out here, and well, no, I didn't tell her I was coming out. I just said I'm gonna go work on some camera stuff. Didn't really mean I was coming out here, but I wanted to get my angles right because when I posted that video, I only had one angle right here, and so I wanted to toy around with if there was another person here having dual cameras like facing each other.
Sure.
And then when I was like, Billy's coming out here, she goes, good luck. It's like, yes.
Perfect.
So yeah, before he came out here, we had a couple Northerns. One whipped through the other line, but thankfully I have different colors on there so I can really see which one is which.
That's smart.
I know, and you are you're very familiar with ice castles.
Well, I actually had a Yeti.
You did?
Yes.
Your very first one?
Yes.
No.
Does that screw up your podcast?
No, not at all. I said this in the comments, but when I was younger and it was a Coon Lake Classic.
Yep.
I thought it was a ice castle, but whatever fish house you had, whatever drop down fish house you had, that was the first one I was ever in, and I got in there and was like, this is the coolest thing on the planet Earth.
It was
blue.
No, it was green.
Well, whose shack was I in?
What? Hey, it was the Coon Lake Classic, so you can't be, held accountable for anything. But hey, I'm glad you thought of me, and mine was awesome. But now, do you remember before we had the drop down when we all had the campers?
Oh yeah, yeah. It wasn't drop down. All your holes froze.
Yeah. The good old days of the Coon Lake Classic, where everybody had the crappiest camper they could find, holes in the bottom, and we were rocking them things, seeing if we could break the frames.
So shitty. So, okay, that one of the Coon Lake Classics, I have kind of a horror story with that. And it must, you know what? Okay, maybe this was your shack that I was in when, okay, this will make sense in a minute, but so someone at the time had a jar of Cranberry Moonshine, and I was just eating those like candy.
Yes.
And I was in someone's shack.
It was my shack, or it could have been Adam Memmer's shack.
I don't know.
Because we were just, remember the whole crowd just kind of
Coon Lake Classic
migrated.
I love it. I freaking love Coon Lake Classic though. But
yeah.
So in the morning, I usually don't tell these stories. I hate feeling this
We're just getting into it.
I know. In the morning, I got out and was like, who the hell threw up all this fruit in front of the shack? And I think I was with Ray or Garrett, and they're like, man, that was you. I was like, oh, like, that's right. There was like that Cranberry Moonshine. Just disgusting.
Yeah. I remember who brought it.
Who was it?
I don't know if I dare say.
I
will say they are of Italian descent.
Okay.
And one may have been a retired teacher at the time.
Okay, we'll keep that. We won't use that. I'm just kidding. Okay. Also, that... Oh, did I tell you when... or maybe it was later, but Ray Krakowski had a Winn of Bago that he bought from Mickey for like $300. And so one of the reasons why I bought this ice castle was like for traveling for work.
Sure.
Before I did that, I tried it with that $300 Winn of Bago. I pulled that to Gary, Indiana, and I stayed in there for like 2 months. It had no water, no heat. It was horrible.
Sure.
And then got back, and thankfully it made it there and back, sort of. The floor came out in Eau Claire, and I don't know if Ray's still got it, but those were the best because like you'd find those on Craigslist and go, I can remodel that nice, but like you get into it and you're like, I'm just drilling holes in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was. Those were the good old days, man.
Is Coon Lake Classic still going on?
It's starting again this year.
Right. Last 2 years were hard for tournaments.
Yeah. So I'm actually excited about it. I've known a lot about what's going on, and I was a little bit nervous to spill the beans on things. But then when I looked at their flyer that they're putting out, Structural Builders is kind of spearheading it.
Okay.
And any funds that are raised are going back into restocking Coon Lake.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was under the impression that they wanted to kind of wait and tell people.
Right.
Well, then once I saw the flyers, like, heck, I'm gonna get this out there.
Yeah.
I just think even when I was growing up, my kids, everything, there was always kids around Coon Lake fishing.
Right, and then you had like the huge bonfire where you go up and just talk to everyone.
Oh, absolutely, and even in the summertime, all of a sudden you'd see some
like family days, summertime.
Yeah,
oh, that's the
some
best.
10-year-old kids running down the street carrying a 10-pound northern, and you're like, hell yeah,
yeah.
So any money that's raised from the Coon Lake Classic this year, they're putting back into Coon Lake.
That's nice. Does it still have an aerator?
Yeah.
It does? Okay.
The Gateway Bass Association, I do the Bass League in the summer, donated money to the village to get that back up and running. So we got the aerator going. Lake levels are good. Of course, Mother Nature controls that.
Right.
But now with this contest we're putting on in a month, I said the funds from that are going back into Coon Lake. Like, let's restock it. Let's do what it takes to give something for the kids to go down and fish.
That's cool. And then there's the big boardwalk, or not boardwalk. What would you call that?
It's a boardwalk.
Boardwalk?
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool when you see just a bunch of kids and stuff on that.
Right.
But then you see all the lures on the high lines. You're like,
I love it. I mean, it's just this is small town America.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just redneck shit. I love it.
Yep.
But yeah, I just want to reiterate that it's Structural Builders that's really spearheading this.
Cool.
And I think they deserve some credit for doing that.
Right. And they're based right off the golf course, right?
Right across the road. Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like a what do you call it?
A satellite.
Yeah. But that's their headquarters.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So it's
perfect.
It's exciting. I don't think I'll partake in the festivities as much as I did.
I'm past that. That was fun when I was younger, but
it was.
Great. That sounds like the worst thing for me now. Is like, I can't do it anymore. I was trying to think of how we actually met. Like, how do we know each other? And what I think it was is football.
Absolutely.
It was. Okay. Perfect.
I mean, that's how we really got to know each other. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I cherish that.
Oh, I do too. I kind of fortunate going out on a bang on my senior year. That was fun.
It was quite the year. Now, I coached under Ken for 17 years. Now, I believe your senior year was where we won conference and then got beat by Clayton.
Clayton.
Okay.
Yeah, by like inches too.
It was
close.
Kind of the season that could have been.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But no, it's funny. For all the years I coached, when I first started coaching, I was only 23 years old. So the seniors at that time were only 5 years younger than me.
Holy.
But as I go through life,
Yeah.
I still look at you, every single kid that like
Yeah.
kids. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, that kid, that kid, that kid. Even though some of them are 40 years old now, I'm like, oh, that kid.
Oh, yeah.
That kid.
There's kids now that are like 21, 25 or whatever, like younger than my sister. And I remember when we did something like with flag football, like, oh, little kids or whatever. Now they're grown up, but to me,
Sure.
I'm just like, you guys are still kids. So like a generational thing for you, me, it's crazy.
It's very eye opening when like I'll go to school and pick up my grandkids, and then there's kids of
kids
that I coach.
Yeah.
And but no, it was some of my best memories was coaching guys like you. And I mean, I could just name off names that when I see you guys, it's like I want to hug you.
Yeah.
And and if you talk to some of the old guys later, you're like, I saw Billy, and he's just bear hugging me. It's like, I don't care if you want it or not, man. If you score a touchdown, we hug. Well, if I don't see you for 10 years, we're gonna hug. I love it. I mean, it was a great experience for me. Like I said, I think you're a great dude. I think we're friends now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have crossed paths otherwise.
Probably out on the lake somewhere. I feel like
sure, but I
mean,
like
pretty, but
right.
Yeah,
it's it was great. I loved it, and now I've got grandkids that are trying to talk me to get back into it.
Are you gonna do it?
I don't know. It's tough.
You should do it. It's a lot.
Well, first of all, there would have to be an opening.
Yeah.
And I think about it, but then when it's crisp October morning and I'm sitting in my bow stand and it's like, no, this is pretty nice. So
I still see Ken in the gym, and he's never gonna die. He is in such good health. Like I don't know how old he is, but he's a machine.
He is. He's an awesome dude. He's one of those people, like, when I'm around him, I feel guilty for living the way I do.
Oh, yeah.
It's like every time I'm around him, I'm like, I feel I should be better.
Yeah.
I should be a better husband. Yeah. I should be a better dad. I should take better care of myself.
He will hold you to a standard.
He will.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Whenever I mess up or do something that I was just like, you shouldn't have done that, every single time, and I've talked about this with Aaron Kackman, and he goes, same thing. I always hear Coach's voice going, Rivera!
Or, what are you doing?
Or he'd smack you with his clipboard on the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, Coach, I feel fortunate to call him one of my best friends.
Yeah,
I really
do. He's a great guy.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
I think he's in Florida right now, just getting his tan and golf on.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to him shortly before Christmas, and they were getting ready to head south. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was going to tell you, too, if any of these go off, it's yours. Those are yours.
I've never taken a rattle reel before.
I hope you get the chance tonight.
I'm like, you think I'm serious?
What?
Dude, I've taken more rattle reels than you.
That's what yeah. But you're the guest. So this is yours. And hopefully we get it on camera.
We used to, up on Mille Lacs, we used to have a skid shack up there for years.
Like yours? You would put it out there, or is it a rental?
We went out of, at the time it was called the Wharf. I don't know what it's called now, but so went out with other guys. We owned this skid shack. They drug it out, and that's kind of how I got my feet wet with Mille Lacs.
Yeah.
I was in on it with Jim Brewster. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Sir 15
Yeah,
Guns.
Jimmy Brewster.
Jimmy Brewster, my cousin Jimmy.
That's your
Yeah,
cousin?
absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. We're both
We're
we're both badass
ev-
dudes, man.
every single, you know what? I'm not surprised. Everyone's related somehow. Me getting into the Meyer clan, it's like blows my mind too. It's like
Yeah,
all these little connections, but
I gotta tell you, when we had this skid shack, I think it was like 10 by 16, something like that. So it had bunks on one end,
yep.
and then the rest was kind of open like this. And anybody who's listening and knows Jim is gonna appreciate this. So I was up on the top bunk, and then we had a rattle reel there that went down to the hole.
Yep.
Well, we'd had, drink or two, whatever, and went to bed. Jim got up to go take a pee in the middle of the night.
Yep.
So he gets up. Well, as he went out, he hooked the rattle reel line with it went between his pinky toe and the next toe over. And then he put his slippers on. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so it's caught.
It's caught around his pinky toe, and he goes heading out the shack. So I'm laying there, and this rattle reel's about a foot from my head going. So I wait till he gets out the door, and I just reach over and I grab that thing and I stop it. You should have heard him howl. He all of a sudden, he's down.
It wasn't like leader. It was like the really thick.
Oh yeah, around his pinky toe, and I just hit him, and he comes back in.
And Jim's not a small guy.
Oh. And he has snow from head to toe. He's got snow behind his glasses.
Yeah. I wish I could have seen this.
And I'm just laying there, just rolling while he gets cleaned up and we get everything set. And I mean, we try to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, I'm just losing it again, because I'm thinking about it. Yeah. And he's like, "It's all right. That's enough. It's not funny anymore."
That was on Mille Lacs?
That was on Mille Lacs, yeah.
I love that.
So that's kind of how I got my feet wet up there.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got the wheelhouses, and, like Mammer got his, and there's a lot of guys that got them. And then we had started going over for the 3-4 day weekends, and
oh, those are best.
God, it was fun.
It is so much fun because, like, that lake, it is so packed with, like, you have such a good chance to catch a trophy.
Oh, it was so even back.
So much structure too, like
right back when they were calling it the Dead Sea.
Really,
this was, God, I'm probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever. And like all the locals up there were calling it the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Well, they were fishing like this. They'd go put their rattle reels out.
Yeah. They don't. Minnesota doesn't like tip ups.
No.
No one
So
does.
we went over there and we're putting out tip ups with the biggest shiners we could find.
Yep.
And we'd go into the bar and they're like, "Well, how's the fishing?" And we're like, "Oh, it's okay. We got like 12. Yeah. These old timers like, "I haven't got 12 walleyes all winter." Yeah. And it's like, well, what do you do? What do you do? We're taking Wisconsin style. Yeah. To Minnesota, and it frickin' worked.
Beaver Dam flare.
Absolutely.
I think so. Usually, when I'm not doing this, like, I'll have tip ups out. Like, I'll have a couple, like 2 in here and then 1 outside, or vice versa.
Yep.
Because I really think the light in here, and probably the noise and sound and stuff, affects, down below. Granted, we're in 7 feet of water, so it's super shallow. So I gotta think the lights have to do something to them.
Yeah.
It might spook them or something, but
yep.
But no, when you're on the mud flats and stuff, like, I don't worry about it so much. But still, I like having, like, when we have our dogs and stuff in here too, I like freeing up a couple line, like, just not to have the lines for them to get tangled up in. So yeah, dump a couple tip ups out, and then I don't know if you use these, but the blue tips, like the wireless.
I don't.
I love those so much.
My brother-in-law has them
so much,
and You know what? I don't.
So lazy.
Just because I'm like old school. I just love sitting with the boys. You're having a beer, playing cards, whatever,
Looking.
and all of a sudden you go, got a little blinky.
Yeah.
Like,
They still blink. They just have a
I know, but
signal that comes.
no, I there's something about it. I just love that. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
and you go out there and you're just waiting for that nice walleye
Yep.
spin.
Not the helicopters like.
No, just that.
That one, when I caught all these northerns, like they are hammering it. Like it would fly line off. It was spinning so fast. Like you immediately are like, oh man, my shack's gonna smell like slime. Whatever.
It's still fun.
It is. I love it.
I mean, it's fun. What else are you gonna do?
This is so I freaking love wheelhouse ice fishing in general, just for our area. It's so specific to our region, and it's like when I took this down south when I was working at oil fields, like to see people's reaction to something like this and like explain to them like we drive our 7-ton pickup and trailer on the frozen lake and spend an evening out there, and they're like, are you stupid? Like it's the greatest thing, but it's so specific. I love it.
Oh, I'm with you. There's just something about it.
Yeah.
And we had our wheelhouse, and in the summer, on the land that I bought from my uncle, we would. Oh, we got something happening there, brother.
No, you got something happening there. That's you.
You gonna put me on the spot?
Yeah. I guess. Okay.
We're gonna let that thing chew.
Yeah, I know.
I like.
See, that's a tiny minnow, so that is not a minnow trip.
No. It doesn't look like a pike run either.
Could be a big old crappie. Then when you hear that, and at night, you're like, immediately up, like,
oh,
boom.
Yeah. Yeah, I can be at home now, and the old lady's like, Bill, you're snoring. I don't hear. The dogs are barking. I had
a little rattle.
But you hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Full alert.
Should put that as my alarm.
I like that when like if you're in real deep water and you can look down and you see the line just going, like, just like they're chomping on it.
Yeah. Crappie.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good crappie. Right to the bunger. There you go.
10, 11 and a quarter.
Right on.
Sweet.
Keeping
Give the camera a little loving. Look at that.
Right on.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like
back in action.
Check. Nice catch. 11 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Nice little crappie.
Damn near took my arm off. So we're good.
I was gonna give you a weight belt there. I think we covered a pretty good amount. This was fun.
Yeah.
I think I can keep doing this.
I think you should get really big, and then let me be the guy who sits in the corner and just throws out a smart ass comment every now and then.
Just has the computer.
Let me pull up the stats on that.
Billy, can you look up the stats on the slot limit on clam? So.
Right.
I definitely think that this was this like exceeded my expectations, like
well, you got
through the moon.
You got the right guy.
I had the right guy. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. So,
all right,
that's it.
That's
it. First one.
It's a wrap.
Scoop you later.
Scoop.
It was either that or keep your holes clean. Bye.
You should do both.